Hey guys, Kevin Watson here with Churchill Mortgage, and I thought this would be a great idea to explain some of the reasons that people buy homes and how we can help you through all of the phases of life. We kind of made up a fun term for this, and we call it the 7 Ds of life. Okay, first I'm going to go through the Ds, and then I'm going to go through details on each of the D's, and they go sort of in a chronological order of your life. At different times, you're going to need housing for different reasons. And just wanted to explain some ways that we at Churchill Mortgage can help you with the strategies of moving into those homes and changing as your life changes. We'll start with the first one, and the first D is diplomas. When you're growing up in your family's home, then you get that diploma from the high school, and guess what? It's time to move on to another place. So with diplomas, I always think of how can we help that new college person to be able to get into real estate early in their life, because the way that real estate works is it's sort of like a tree. When's the best time to plant a tree? 30 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. So real estate's the same way. The earlier you get in it, the more wealth you build through real estate. I think of diplomas, and I think, hey, we've got a kid moving to college. The way that we can help a kid at that time, instead of renting for 4 years, they could go ahead and buy a home in that first year. And you're thinking, wait a minute, if they buy a home, then they have to pay that mortgage. Here's an example. When I went to the University of Alabama, I stayed with a friend of mine in his house, and he had 4 other guys in there, and we all rented a room from him, and I rented mine for 4 years from him. And he literally took all the revenue from that, paid the mortgage, and paid some of his tuition at that time towards the University of Alabama. And then the value of that home over those 4 or 5 years grew as well. The way we do that on a mortgage is the student would be the primary resident, and they would be the primary person on the loan. And then the parents can co-sign. Even if the student doesn't have credit, you can do it and have the parents co-sign. And what that does is it creates a great wealth builder for you during the time that they're in the home. And then you have what we call other people's money, or you have OPM. You have all these roommates paying for the mortgage, and maybe even a little bit more to help with tuition or books or food or something like that. That is a way that you can use the first D of diplomas to be able to build wealth for you and your family. The second D we're going to talk about is dogs. Okay? What do you mean dogs? Well, dogs are one of our favorite family pets, right? And they're part of the family. And a lot of people, when they get a dog, they don't want to be in an apartment, because let's say that you graduated from college, you got your new job, and you're in an apartment, and you're on the 3rd floor, and your dog has to go pee. So then you got to walk down 3 floors and let them go. After a while, it gets old. So believe it or not, a lot of my first-time buyers say, hey, I actually want a home so I can just open the back door and let my little furry baby go out there and do his business, and then let him back in. So dogs is another reason that a lot of people actually buy homes, believe it or not. So that may be your first home that you buy. Or you could have taken the equity from diplomas, number 1, and taken the equity from that home that you had at your college and use that to sell that and use that for your down payment on the new home. Or you may have kept that home and rent it out and still receive the revenue and let that home continue to grow. We have a way that we can help you get an equity line to draw some of the equity out of that home and put it into the new home to help you and your dog in your new place where you're working. So now you have 2 homes growing in value for you. Or you have all the equity in one home that's in where you're working, where your new job is. Now the third D is diamonds. Well, that means that, guess what? Someone in your life has come along that either has offered you a diamond ring, or you've actually offered them a diamond ring. Hopefully the answer was yes. And we find that a lot of couples contact us to buy a home when they're engaged, or they're about to get married, or right after they got married. That's a big time, because you're combining homes, you've got furniture combined, and the great news is you've got combined income, right? So you can afford a whole lot more than you used to be able to afford because you're combining two incomes into one household, and you can definitely afford a lot more. So a lot of people think about, hey, let's go ahead and get into a home at that point and buy a home. So we do help a lot of people do that. Sometimes we have to use parents still to help co-sign. It depends. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It just depends on how the income lies. But we make a strategy to help for that. Every phase, every D that we're talking about, there's a different strategy for that D or that different phase of life. The fourth D is diapers. And you can imagine what that means. So after you got the third D, which is diamonds, the fourth D is diapers, meaning, hey, we got a little kid on the way. People are more likely to buy a home when they know they're about to have a baby. It's crazy. It's like an 80% shot up from the time they're married until when they find they're having a baby. That's when they buy, right in that time frame. Most people that are going to add to their family, it may be the first one or the second one or the third one or the fourth one or the fifth one, they're going, uh-oh, we don't have enough room, right? So we need to make a change. So diapers is a huge reason. Another reason that they move for the diapers is school systems. When you're young and you're in your first home, you may not be thinking about school systems. You're like, I just want to be in the metropolitan area where I can be close to work. I don't care about school systems. But once you have that baby, you start thinking, oh, where are they going to go to school? I want them to be in the best schools. I want to get the best education, and I want to be in the best school systems. And different areas will have different school systems. So you start thinking long term like that. So when that time happens and you're in the diaper stage of growing your family, then there'll be needs for your mortgage. Now at that point, you may already own a home and you're needing to buy another home. Y'all may both have homes and you're having to combine. But there are strategies for every one of those. There's strategies for selling a home and buying a home at the same time. That seems to be a scary thing. A lot of times people are like, well, I bought a home, but I've never tried to sell one and buy one at the same time. It's very, very important to have a great realtor that you can work with. I can refer you to one of our trusted realtors that we know are professionals and do a great job. Honestly, there's only about 5 or 10% of the realtors out there that are full-time professionals. The rest of them are sort of part-time. I can show you the ones who do a great job and can really help you. And they can help you coordinate the sale of that home to the buy of the new home to where with us and the plan and coordination, we can make it seamless. So you're not homeless in between and you make it work. So that's a big fear or question that comes up is, oh my goodness, I've never tried to sell a home and buy a home at the same time. How do I do that? Don't let that stop you. We can team up with a great realtor and we can help you coordinate that correctly to where it'll be seamless for you. The next part of the D's, which is number 5 of the D's, is called duplexes. And the reason I put duplexes in here is at this stage, you're doing really well in your career. You're getting closer to the peak earning seasons. So you probably have some discretionary income. Hopefully you're following the baby steps that Dave Ramsey tells you to follow. An additional thing I would say that you can look at is investment properties. You may decide to buy a duplex. You may decide to buy a triplex or a quadruplex and rent those out and make some additional revenue. I know when my wife and I, Holly, decided to keep her house and rent it out, we thought, hey, this is going to be a great property one day to build up enough equity that when our kids want to go to college, we'll have equity in there and that can be their college, right? And so that was our first plan on getting them to college, is that house is going to build up enough equity so we could use that to pay for their college. So you never know what that will be. But we've owned that home since 1996 and it is 2023 right now. And we owe very, very little on it, and we're making a really nice positive cash flow on that, believe it or not, pays for my kids' college right now. The positive cash flow by itself pays for the kids' college, and I don't even touch the principal. So investment properties are really smart, and we can help you with that. I'm an investor myself. We own several homes. My wife and I manage them, and we can show you the nuances of how to do that. And make sure you learn from our experience, not from your own. We always say true wisdom is learned from someone else's experience. So we can teach you that. But I can also teach you how to get up your down payment for the investment property and how to make sure that it all works legally through your taxes and everything. We not only help you do the mortgage, but we help you set up all that. So duplexes, that's what we're talking about, is mainly investment properties. Another thing that I would add to that is you may decide you want a second home. That's another technically investment property to the IRS. So a second home is like a lake home or a beach home or a mountain home, something that you go to as a destination, and we can help you with that. There are some rules that are applied to that, and we can help you with that as well. The 6D is an unfortunate one. I have to talk about this one, and it's not death, but it's almost as bad. It's called divorce. Unfortunately, that happens in our community, and hopefully it doesn't happen to you, but if it does, then we're here to support you. We will help you build a plan. There's many times that I've helped a single dad or a single mom to sort of rebuild their life, right? And restructure, hey, how's this going to work where I can make everything work just on my one income, and how am I going to own a home and stay in the same school system that I was in prior? There's some important things, because I want everything to be as stable for my kids as possible, because it's already hard enough on them. So we can help you with that. We also can help you with what are the important parts of how to qualify. When someone wants to qualify for a home and they've gotten a divorce, then child support and alimony have to continue for 6 months before we can count it. So we have to know that. And then it has to be likely to continue for at least 3 years out. So we want to make sure when you're structuring the divorce, you're structuring it the correct way. And then we'll definitely pray with you that it doesn't have to happen as a divorce. I've actually had that happen before, where a customer came back and said, we got back together. And I'm like, thank goodness. We'll be with you and help you in those situations. Unfortunately, if you have to go through that. Instead of saying death, I made this D, which is number 7D, called depends, okay? And everyone knows what that is. It's sort of an adult diaper, okay? Meaning that you're getting older and you may be thinking about retiring, or you may be already retired. You may be in a fixed income, but you want to maintain your home. But you're finding that the mortgage is going to be a lot higher. So at that point, you may have a bunch of equity in your house. You may have already paid off your house. At that point, if you need equity out of your home to be able to live in dignity in your home throughout your retirement years, then we can do what's called a reverse mortgage. And it is exactly what it sounds. In a regular mortgage, you're paying a mortgage payment, right? And the principal's going down monthly and you're paying interest on it. On a reverse mortgage, you don't really owe much on it. And what happens is there are many options, but they may pay you a payment and actually help subsidize your living, or you may not have a payment at all. You can use that reverse mortgage as a great financial tool to help you stay in your home and be able to pay some expenses for medical expenses and living expenses, and maybe an assisted situation where someone can come over and help you a little bit so you can stay in your home if you want to stay in your home. So that's the last D. Instead of saying death, I just said depends. So these are the 7 times in your life that you may need help from us or advice from us, but by no means the only times. There may be times where you're just wondering how your escrows work, or you may be wondering how that analysis that once a year that comes through works. We're here for you, and we want to answer those questions for you. So if you have questions, feel free to ask us. Get in touch with us. Definitely contact me at my cell, 615-364-2548. You can call or text me there. Don't feel that, hey, I'm not doing anything, so I don't want to bother them. Call us. Let us be part of counseling you and giving you the right counsel so you can build wealth for your family. So hopefully these D's have given you things to think about and reasons to include us in those decisions so we can help you make the right decisions for you and your family to build wealth, generational wealth. Okay, thanks guys.